a reader is hard to be in a go, go, go type of world. It's hard to find moments of peace where you can sit down and read a book, especially as a student. Reading seems like an impossible task, or so we think. What if I were to tell you that there are more opportunities and time to read than you think? Today I will be discussing 8 different tips on how to read more. A little bit about my experience as a reader is that I, on average, read 20 books a year. And you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's easy for you to say, you don't have blah, 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 blah. No. I'm a full-time student. I do 3 shows a year, which leaves me roughly a month and a half of free time, where I'm not actively at 3-hour-long rehearsals and 4-day weeks. I actively compete in a competition a cappella group that adds more rehearsals to my schedule, and I also still have an active social life with friends, family, and a girlfriend. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty busy, and yet I still have found time to read. So I think I'm a pretty credible source. For this TED Talk, I wanted to see on average how many books the regular high school student reads a year. I went around and asked random people in my grade, and I found that the average was 7 books a year, which isn't bad, but when you take into account for your annual lit class that you have during school, you read about 5 books there. So that leaves 2 books just for fun. And I'd like to help change that, because reading can be so enjoyable and a great way to spend your free time. There is no point in reading a book you don't enjoy. So, start with the easy things. Tip number 1, read stuff you're actually interested in. Start with genre. Are you a person that likes a little love in your life? Try romance. Are you a person who likes a little bit more of an adventure? Try a fantasy book. I personally try a myriad of genres based on my bookshelf, and I range from classic to mystery to poetry to anything that will keep my brain invested and want to read. If you pick a book that is not interesting, you won't have the motivation to read it. You'll be bored and eventually ignore the book entirely. When you have a book that you genuinely like, you are more inclined to read it. Tip number 2. Set aside time to read every day. Find a time of day that you know you can sit down and read. It doesn't need to be a long time, just make that spot available to yourself. Know that this is the time you will read and actually commit to reading then. Don't just make this your free time where you spiral into the depths of the internet and your For You page, which we all succumb to at some point. Take out your book and put your phone away. Maybe even shut it down entirely, or put it in the next room over so there's no distractions if you are able to do so. Make sure this time is consistent every day. For after a while, it will become a habit, like brushing your teeth. Tip number 3, start small. When you're getting into reading, never jump in to a 600-page book that you read every day for 2 hours straight. I don't even do that. Start small, with the time as well as the length of the book. Find a book that you want to read that's maybe shorter in length, like 200 or 300 pages. That will help the book look a lot less daunting compared to the 600-page book. You also don't have to read for 2 hours a day. Maybe start with 30 minutes a day. Promise to do those 30 minutes, but as you complete it, if you're in the zone and want to read more, I'm not gonna stop you. Tip number 4, find a place you are comfortable in. There's nothing better than getting cozy with a good book. Find a good place in your home, your bed, a comfy chair, the floor, who knows what you're comfortable in. Find that place and wrap up in a soft blanket. You could also get yourself a snack, definitely something to drink. Maybe even set the mood by lighting a nice candle. For me, my cozy place is this chair next to my bookshelves. I like to get myself a cup of ice water and wrap up in a cozy blanket to get all nice and comfortable and read my book. Tip number 5. Go to the library. Now, all of these tips are all well and good, but are useless if you don't have access to books. Clearly, based on these shelves behind me, I like to own my own copies of books, but if you're not crazy like me and want to spend thousands of dollars, go to the library. There are a bunch of public libraries as well as school libraries you have access to. Especially in this day and age, it is essential to go to public libraries and support them. I regularly, during the summer, bike over to my library and read my book or check out their selection of books if I don't have one but want to read it. So, to be a reader, you don't not need to spend hundreds of dollars on books when you can visit your public library and find your perfect book. Tip number 6. Read wherever and whenever you can. You would be surprised how often you can find yourself with a free 30 minutes. When you finish a test early, waiting for an appointment, free time in class, these are all times you can find to pull out a book and read a couple pages. With this tip, you also get a little mini tip, which is always carry a book on you, even if you know you're probably not going to read. Bring it anyways, because you never know what might happen. Replace those 30 minutes of free time with reading instead of scrolling through your For You page. Tip number 7. Find other ways to engage with reading when you're not actively reading. There are a lot of ways to be engaged with reading. A lot of us spend time in our car driving places, and for those car rides, why don't you pull up an audiobook and listen to a book that way? There are a plethora of free audiobooks on YouTube to listen to. I know from experience, I use audiobooks quite often. With audiobooks, you can listen to them wherever you are, and you can also speed up the book to a pace that you're comfortable listening to. You may find that you actually enjoy listening to audiobooks more than reading. If this is you, you could invest in an audiobook app like Audible, which has a ton of books on it. Another way to engage with reading is joining a book club. When you have a time frame and people to keep you on track, it can really help you get through a book. Also, being able to talk with people who also enjoy reading and are reading similar things to you is very nice and a good way to make a community of readers. Tip number 8, recommendations. For my last tip, it's not really a tip, but I still wanted to include it. I'm going to give you all recommendations based on 6 different popular TV shows and movies to give you an idea of what you could possibly read if you like a certain vibe. First set of books that I'm going to give you recommendations off of is Gossip Girl, starting with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is about a high society actress and how she goes through her life as an upcoming actress and all of her husbands. Next, we have American Royals by Catherine McGee. This is basically if America had a monarchy instead of a presidency, and it follows 4 girls in high society connected to the royal family and a bunch of their secrets. And then Solitaire, this is a little out there, but it has a similar concept of having the Gossip Girl character, where there is a secret person sending out all of these messages online to this high school. The next 3 books that I'm going to give you recommendations is based off the movies of Fear Street, starting off with The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This book is about a girl who goes to a group therapy with a bunch of other women who were involved in like mass tragedies and massacres, and some of them come back to haunt her. And then we have If It Bleeds by Stephen King. Stephen King is the king of horror. If you like horror, read Stephen King, obviously. And then we have The Merciless by Danielle Vega, which is about a girl who gets caught up in the possession of one of her fellow classmates. The next books that I have are for the series The Last of Us, starting off with the Illuminae Files, which is it's set in space, and they are trapped on this ship with an outbreak that's turning people into like mindless zombies-ish that are attacking the humans. And then we have Agnes at the End of the World, which is about a girl escaping her cult that she is in while there is a like epidemic plague going throughout the world that basically once someone gets affected with this disease, they find other people of the same like humans flock with humans, birds flock with birds, and they like flock together and they create this like mush of like a thing that just like kind of roams around. It's really disturbing to think about, but it's cool. And then we have Hell Followed With Us, which is about another sort of like plague epidemic, and it's about a person who is set to be the kind of cure for this disease. The next books is for the Enola Holmes movies, for a little bit of mystery in your life. We have The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane, which is about a girl from America who goes to a British boarding school and uncovers a bunch of secret societies and how her dead father was connected to them. And then we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is about a girl who's trying to uncover this old cold case about a girl that went missing in her town and try to prove the innocence of the guy who was blamed for it. And then we have The Inheritance Games, which is my favorite series. It's very long. It's right there. But The Inheritance Games is about this girl who inherits this wealth from this billionaire who she never met, and basically has to solve a bunch of puzzles and riddles and a bunch of clues to figure out why she was the one chosen. The next books that I will be giving recommendations for is for the Bridgerton series. First of all, if you like Bridgerton, read the books. It's kind of self-explanatory. But besides that, we have A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which is about a guy, his sister, and his best friend who go on this road trip across Europe, and they're in like high society. You get that vibe. And then we also have Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is about the relationship between the president's son and the Prince of England, and how they navigate the skepticism of their societies. And the last recommendations I will be giving to you is for To All the Boys I've Ever Loved Before. If you like that movie, read the books. I don't own the books, or else I'll show you a copy, but read the books. I've heard they're very good. And then we have Perfect on Paper, which is about a girl who helps this guy write love letters to his crush, who she also has a crush on. And then Dungeons and Drama is about a girl who is a music nerd, and starts working at her dad's gaming shop, where she meets this guy who is into D&D, and they play D&D together, and they start fake dating to get this guy's crush to be more interested in him, and they subsequently fall in love with each other. It's very cute. And with that being said, that is all the tips and tricks I have to be a more active reader in your day-to-day life. I hope you take these tips and apply them and get some reading done, because there is more time to read than you think. Happy reading.